Chris, if you'd like, Joe?
Oh, I would love to address the audience. Martha and I met, and Luke and I are currently the Code Red officers. We thought we would augment the notifications we're doing for our residents. We're not going to take anything away. We're simply going to add Code Red. Martha, when the agenda is set, is going to notify Luke and I will most likely be sending out the general notification via email and text to everyone, all the abutting properties. So we're just going to increase our functionality of Code Red.
So you're not going to go any further than I know we had talked about having a radius, maybe to whatever distance along with the abutting properties, but we're just going to go with the.
Yeah, it's going to vary. As Martha correctly pointed out, town properties are further away. Village properties are, well, we won't be in the village, but closer to the village.
Yeah.
Or closer together. So the way the policy is written is the minimum diameter or radius to encompass all abutting properties.
Okay. Anybody else have it?
No.
Okay. Next is the documents for the work that the state's going to be doing down on Davis Road. These have all been signed by Supervisor Bach, but obviously Supervisor Bach's term is ended and they need to be reauthorized. I don't know. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions on any of that? You good with that, Jim?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Next is the bed and breakfast site plans in front of us, 3 of them. I will just mention here that on the last one, the one for Gretchen and Steve Oob, there was a typo on that. It says 1514 Quaker Road. It's actually 1514 Mill Road. So just so everyone knows that typo. And while we're on this subject, because we'll be setting the public hearings, the first 2, the ones for Grover Road and the ones for one for 686 Quaker Road will be set for February 19th. But I received an email from Liz, I think we all did actually, asking if the last one, the one on Mill Road, could be postponed until March 11th. Is that right, Rich?
Yes, so she's actually on vacation, so
Oh.
we didn't want her to cancel that.
Anybody having?
February 19th.
This one is actually,
Oh, I'm sorry.
or maybe, no.
So we're gonna move to set 2 for February 26th and 1 for March 3rd or
March
13th,
11th.
11th.
Is that date right, Martha?
And which one is Mill Road? I see a 1309 Grover.
The last one.
Quaker.
The one for
1514.
Gretchen and Steve Oob?
1514.
Yep. Yep, it's actually Mill Road. March, yes, 11. Anybody have any thoughts or?
Not really.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a request from Kathleen about the new software purchase. This is called the Employee Self-Service. If you'd like, I read through the whole thing. If you read it and studied it, it'll just make everybody's life easier. Payroll will be done electronically. Just want everyone to know that this is not a time clock. It is just, you will be filling out your time electronically. It keeps track of your personal time off, of your vacation time, and I'm sure many other things too. But the way we do it now, which is manually, this will be a huge step up.
Huge. Amen. Absolutely.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't actually have this already, so
Yeah.
absolutely support that addition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good timing. I mean, we just got the new payroll software from
Yeah.
Edmunds,
Yeah.
and so this is just perfect timing. It just fits right in with that. So.
Yeah, these are good for the employees as well. They can see.
Yeah.
All their information. It's step in the right direction.
And it'll save a lot of time on the office and to entering time. Everybody good?
Very good.
Next on the agenda is the new P card, the purchase card. Again, I don't know if you want, I can read through the whole thing, but essentially we've changed banks and doubled our interest rate. So it's a win-win.
Yep.
Not our interest rate,
I'm sorry?
not our interest rate, our
Yeah,
return or,
our return, yeah.
yeah.
Everybody good?
Yes.
We're good.
Next on the agenda is our revised social media policy. Luke, would you like to?
Sure, yeah, so.
What's up, bud?
Yeah, so we passed the social media policy. There's a couple of changes that we, Chuck and I did a training for most of the social media administrators. And before and as we were doing it, we came up with some updates, all minor. One is that the wording here in 4.5 could be interpreted, the town attorney could on her own request the content be removed or edited from a social media page. We didn't want that to go to Bridget's head, so we kept that as a dual request. So it has to be supervisor and town attorney.
There you go.
Yep. So,
Ah, I'm offended, Luke.
yeah, well,
All of you.
we were just getting sick of all those requests. We had to take down all the social media posts we put up, so. All right, the second is that we added one more permitted use. It could have fit in the other ones, but just to be clear, that's to post dog control information. So now that's explicitly stated. So Highway Superintendent Gunner and Elizabeth are going to be able to do that without any problems. And then we set up with Nick a while back a code red at townofaurora.com email, which goes to the supervisor and to Joe and me as administrators, and as well to an administrator at townofaurora.com email address. And when a comment is removed from a social media page or hidden, the administrator is responsible to send a screenshot of that to us so that we're aware. And that also goes to that administrator address so it can be saved in the future if we ever need to find what has been hidden or taken off. We do have access to that, but nobody should really sign in. We just keep that information there. So that's what that is about. And the second to last change is that we have to put this on our website. So we put there that in 5.10, it shall be on the website. And the final changes are in Appendix A. We corrected last time Christopher's last name. I misspelled it, but we also updated from James Bach to Charles Snyder in the administrators. So pretty much the same, just those minor changes.
Great. Thank you for that, Luke. Any other comments, Joel? You good?
It's good.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a temporary use permit for the Aurora Waldorf School. This is, they're having a program at Nicely Park. As you have read, I believe we are the identity certification or maps copy. We're good with all of them. Everything. Does anybody have any comments or thoughts?
Just that we need to continue to work on updating our policy.
That's
That,
that's on the list.
well, it's on our list, yeah, which gets bigger rather than smaller. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd even need it. I do have a question about that. And I don't know if it's a Bridget question or just a board question. It sounds like it's a class that's going over there to use the park just like any of us would. Is there a reason why there's a need for a temporary use permit? When they're not asking to reserve anything, they're not asking, they're not modifying the park, they're not, they're essentially just showing up and using the park. Is there a need because maybe the bathrooms are closed or some other issue that you know?
If they're going to, if the weather's not good, then they'll use the building. So that gives them permission.
Okay, thank you.
But it's a good question, and that's why we need to update our policy, which is when do you need to apply, when not, and the pricing structure should be different depending on who's applying. So
And this,
all that has to be
whether
worked
this
out.
is actually part of the reason or not, Jim, I can't answer that, but this is a program and maybe that would have, as opposed to, hey, let's get together and
Right.
maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Maybe not. Just thinking out loud here.
Well, they're
We're
over.
used to the building, that makes sense too, you know?
Yes.
Well, they're over there all the time, but with this is a summer program where
Yeah,
they're
this is
advertising
3
specifically to have
days,
it in
4
the
days.
park.
4 days.
So, yeah,
So is there a part of the park that's reserved for them as a result? Or just,
I guess the building.
other than the building, I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Curious.
Good questions. Next is a rezoning request from 1686 and 1688 Davis Road. This will be referring to the planning board. Does anybody have any
Yeah, it's a
thoughts?
That's a heck of a jump.
heck of a jump that we're requesting here, so.
Yeah.
If anyone is listening, I would be very surprised if this jump were awarded to a C3 and ask the planning board to consider other zoning potential moves that are not as radical as a R2 to C3. If it fits, maybe it doesn't, no move fits, but
Yeah.
C3.
Well,
there's-
they'll look at it and give us their recommendation, so.
And this has been, according to the application, a working automobile repair shop since the 1930s. Does that sound right?
Uh,
I believe he lives there and they do have.
yeah, it's an apartment where someone lives and the rest of it was just storage
That's what I thought. That's what it looked like.
as of late, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at one time or another, I wasn't here in 1930. So.
Well,
Not too nice.
Take note of
I
the
mean,
surprise.
it wasn't that long
Where did you
ago.
live then?
I remember it being
I'm gonna talk to Rob Calver about this.
those were the Marilla days.
He has pictures.
Right.
It was, I remember it being an auto shop.
Well, there was one down the road a little bit further. You know where this is? This is
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Straight there.
Yeah, it's the one right
Quite near.
across from Old Glenwood.
There
Yeah.
was a Herb's Auto Shop right down,
Yeah.
right there where you were.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very far from any C3 zone and it's very close to a C2. I get that, but it's very far from a C3 zone and the building size limits don't really fit in. I don't remember, is this part of the West Falls overlay? I don't think it is.
I think it's too far away.
It's outside of it,
Yeah.
so that's not covered, but you build a nuclear plant with a C3, so.
We'll let the powers that be come up with what they.
Yeah.
Yep. Next. This is something else that has come up since it's as Liz and Rich state here is to clean up the language in section 116. Anybody have any questions, problems with that? I don't know. You want to tell us a little bit more about that, Rich?
Basically, yes, it is like hopefully clearing up the language. Because if you go to that section, it specifically talks about those uses in an enclosed building. And one of the allowances under the special use permit is a junkyard. It doesn't really fit what we're trying to imply there. So cleaning that up in regards to whether it be changing the word of enclosed portion of that statement or separating it in a means that clears out the fact that the junkyard really isn't associated to an enclosed building.
I'm not. Yeah, so the proposal is to include those?
Exclude.
Well, no, it's to revise the language because as of right now, that section and specifically that subsection D, the end latter of that section indicates that it's conducted in an enclosed building. And then underneath that, there's 7, I believe, allowances for uses under the special use permit, one of them being a junkyard.
I mean, I remember us discussing this when we did it and we didn't want to have those, I think we specifically wanted some of those at least to be indoor.
Well, I don't think this is aimed at specifically a junkyard. This is just a general discussion of what might go there. And does everything have to be enclosed is just the discussion.
Right. And that's the main one that Liz specifically identified and the one that we thought deserves enough attention to say, okay, do we include more definitions in regards to those uses and or explain exactly what should be enclosed, what doesn't have to be enclosed, et cetera.
My personal opinion is if we maybe get the specific suggestions to the board before referring to the code committee. So we're not spinning our wheels just to see what the board thinks about where to go with that.
Well,
Because we get the, we should, to get the code committee together works a lot better when we have the text that's ready to be discussed, like a first draft. I think that's the better way to go with this. And that way we get the opinion of all the board members before it goes there and the code committee doesn't waste its time.
let's let them just have that very first discussion
On the code committee?
on the code committee.
And I think it works opposite the other way, but if you want to do it that way, we can do that. Yeah, okay.
And Rich, is there suggested language, or is it really just right now a discussion? With the goal of, like you said, cleaning it up?
Well, we don't have suggested language currently. It would be more of a discussion point. And I think also due to the fact that the code committee is already looking at short-term rentals, it would be another topic that would be included in that discussion with that committee.
Short-term rentals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason, I think one of the reasons this came up is C3 uses by special permit include all C2 uses, which makes sense, but they add a qualifier. You can do all C2 uses that are permitted by special permit as long as they're enclosed. And that seems awfully like you're getting more restrictive as you're moving into a less restrictive zone. So you might want to go in there and say, well, yeah, we do want these certain things to have to be enclosed.
Right.
But we might want to permit things to be open air like a junkyard.
And Luke, you saying that discussion or a similar discussion was had when everybody was revising the zoning code?
Yeah, we did have the discussion about that, but as happens so often, there are just circumstances that kind of, can we reword this to say that this is not a necessary part of we're using a junkyard as an example. I see what Luke's saying is that we really don't want a junkyard in open air. That could be fencing. That could be privacy fencing instead of an enclosed building.
Yeah, okay, we'll take a look.
Yeah.
For it.
Ultimately.
Okay.
No, but I just was pointing. You want to get that.
Next is the, you see here, I got this backwards.
Just if it asked it out loud.
Next is the highway proposal, I guess I'll call it. Well, there's 2 of them, and we'll let Dave. And if you would kind of, Dave, because this ties in with, correct me if I'm wrong here, this ties in with the shared services agreement and so on. I mean, I know we have the 284 agreement in the middle, which is pretty straightforward. But maybe if you could just kind of go through this a little bit with us.
Yeah, thank you, Supervisor Schneider. So this item 11 and item 12 actually kind of fit in with item 15. But we took them separately because they all tie into the big picture with it. So item 11 is showing you an estimate of what the paving project would cost for Olden Road this year. Olden Road's already been approved by the town board on the 284 agreement, so nothing has to be done on this. It's already approved. The reason to put this to the board is to note the expense estimated for a paving crew. And if you look at that estimate, let me know if I'm going too fast. I believe it came in around $25,000 was the estimate from the contractor. We budgeted 15,000. So let me explain why that would be different. When the contractor estimated, it was doing it in a traditional method, which is one lane at a time. So it spreads it out over 2 days. Because I personally try to do it in one pass, it's very difficult to do because you have a lot more traffic control. I only budgeted for 15 because I knew that we could actually do it a little different. So my plan in the budget was a different method. So I know that sounds confusing, but it does tie into item 15 in the fact that my proposal for the paving of Olden Road now is using a municipality, town of Tonawanda, where their paver can't spread as wide as a major contractor. So the option of doing it in one pass is not possible. So when you want to compare to the value of what Tonawanda is doing, the 25,000 is actually the real value. So, does anybody understand all that?
I don't exactly. So,
Okay.
so if we hired, well, County Line Stone Company, you can call them and just have them come pave your road. Is that? what you're
Yes,
saying?
that's
Okay.
correct.
So to have to traditionally do this, not using your one pass technique, would be $22,800.
That's correct.
Okay. But because Tonawanda is supplying us equipment, but not materials, it drops the price. We haven't arrived at what that drops the price to yet.
Okay. Okay, so the $22,000 is for a super wide paver that can do it more efficiently. The trouble, it's very difficult for the highway department to schedule that with the residents because literally they're locked into their house for over an hour while blacktop cools. So it's actually not a really advisable way to pave things, but because we are in these rural roads, I'm able to pull it off. So the town of Tonawanda is offering to pave Olden Road, and to give you an equivalent of what the dollar figure would be worth, it wouldn't be the budgeted figure that I put in. It would be this figure. Okay.
So who's supplying the paver, Dave? Who's paying for the paver?
It would be the town of Tonawanda is going to give it to us at no charge. So $0, which ties into 15. So we're going to save $15,000 in budgeted amount over how I probably would have paved, which is more difficult, especially on a hill with Olden. I'm not sure I could have pulled it off with the one lane. But anyway, so now with this proposal, not only are we getting a slightly better way of paving it that's a little bit easier on the residents, it's going to be free.
But we still have to buy the materials though, right? Or am I wrong about
Yeah,
that?
so on that quote, I believe you show there should be $100 and some $1,000 in blacktop, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Got
Yeah, we're only
Okay.
talking about equipment right now. The
Okay.
blacktop,
That's what I
That's-
didn't understand. I got that
Okay.
now. Okay.
That, Joe, is exactly. I won't interrupt you, Dave. I'll let you finish.
no, I don't know where you're
Okay.
headed, so go ahead.
That was the kind of the confusing part to me on the shared services agreement is I didn't see anywhere where it's specified that this is just labor and equipment supplied by them. We are supplying material only, and some people are. How's that working, Dave?
So the town of Aurora doesn't own a paving crew. We would never have the use for it. You're over $1 million worth of equipment. Town of Tonawanda is much larger, so they do own that equipment. So they're able to offer us with their men and equipment. So when they come to pave, it'll be bringing a full-size paver 2 10-ton rollers, a tack coat machine, and 6 men probably. So we're getting all that at no cost to the town of Aurora under the municipal shared services agreement.
But if we didn't have the shared services, it would have cost us the $25,000 that's on the.
Yes. Or if I would have stuck to my original plan, I would have then ran the paver wide and
Right.
worked a very long day. You get what I mean? So
Right.
it's just 2 different techniques of paving. So the difference is with a 1-pass, you don't have a crown crack like you see on roads normally. It's called a cold seam. There's no way to avoid that cold seam when you do it in 2 passes. So there is definitely a benefit of doing 1 lane. That's preferable. In fact, most of the time we do it, but it's very difficult to work with the residents. So it's one of those things that, you do it if you can pull it off, but a lot of times it's just too hard now. Holden, I'm not sure we could have pulled it off with that big hill and the blind side coming over it. So this actually works out better. It's going to be a safer job. We'll just do it over 2 days instead of 1 very long day.
Bridget, do you think that the shared service agreement should specify those details that Dave just said, that this agreement?
Lawyers love detail. I would never say no to that question, Chuck.
Because honestly, when I got through it, I wasn't just exactly sure who was supplying the paper, who was supplying the rollers.
Doesn't it say that on the shared service agreement? I thought that was.
Not that I read. We have.
Well, we're sending this to
Well,
them. You can
don't
change it
pay.
however you want.
Pardon
You can still change it
Yeah.
any way you
me?
want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is going from us to them.
And I don't,
What's everybody's thoughts on tabling this for tonight and then revising this, Bridget, for the next meeting? We have time. We have time for that.
I
I don't, hold on a second. I don't
Yeah.
even have to go to the town board to do this. I think you're making this bigger. That is irrelevant. We can do this without town board action, period. The question is item 15, if you feel that it's appropriate to trade a piece of equipment as a fair market value trade. So I think I appreciate you're trying to,
Get some details.
but we do need to move on this because we are already planning this road work and we are working already. And because of the way the weather's working, this is going to happen pretty fast. And I need it to go to still the Tonawanda. Again, I'm not trying to but
Sure, I got you.
so we don't even need this agreement. The agreement's to do with the sale of the pieces of equipment. That's all we borrow equipment from towns all the time. Every single year I have 10 towns helping us pave. This is just an extension of that. It's no different than when we traded the snow blower last year was that 2 years ago now? I can't even remember. To Lancaster. So it was an identical thing we did. We traded to Lancaster an old snowblower for the paving crew to pave our whole park. So the only thing that I had to do was show that we're getting a fair market value for our sweeper.
We do need to approve the surplus though,
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but that's,
Oh, yeah.
which we wouldn't want to do unless we're getting something in return for it. But what I would say is that the risk that you're flagging here is more of a risk for Tonawanda. I mean, the way it reads right now, you could either be that they provide the paver and everybody, or they do the job completely, right? So I don't think it's because for us, either way, we're going to get what we want out of this. So we could recommend that Dave can send this to Tonawanda for their thoughts and have them approve it.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we won't give them the keys to the truck if they don't do it, I guess.
If you're okay with that, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, this,
And in that
Well, there's
case-
no board action on this item is all I'm pointing out. It's to do with item
So 5G
15.
and 5H, we'll just
Informational.
remove.
They're informational. That's all they are.
So the
But-
concern is this agreement reads that Tonawanda's going to do everything. It doesn't read that we're going to buy the materials, but
No.
as Luke
that's-
pointed out,
Not a risk for us.
it's not a
so-
risk for us. So
No, it's no different than what we did with Lancaster. We found a way, and I will explain that when we get to item 15, how this all came about. do you want to talk about the library then, Chuck, next, just
Sure.
to throw that out there?
So I just want to say too, I do appreciate the discussion, and as I'm looking at this, I do appreciate what you had to say that this is for our informational purposes only, but I wasn't clear on that.
No,
my
I
fault.
understand.
All
So,
right.
yeah,
No, so last year when we did the budget, Jim,
I understand it now.
we
I didn't
we come up
understand.
with a plan for this year.
I
And
understand.
one of the plans was, now we'll go on to the library, was to hopefully find a way to repave the library. There was a lot of discussion on how we'd pull that off. At that time, there was no commitment. No, this wasn't to the town board. It was to the liaisons. And how would we pull it off? And I went and got a quote for how we'd be able to pave the library. So where these two estimates are from budget season. Okay. So when I had the proposal from Tonawanda, I thought, on top of helping the highway, let's see if we can throw something in too for the town as well with the general fund. And they've agreed to also not including paving the town highway road. They're willing to come and mill and pave our East Aurora library now is free as well. Why this is a big deal is to get an actual street miller even to come to a little tiny like parking like that. I probably couldn't even get a contractor to do it. So this is going to cut the cost of doing the library tremendously, because the original plan was for a full depth excavation, which means tear all the blacktop out. Because they're willing to bring their own miller, which they own, which is about $750,000, and mill this for us, we now can cut back on the blacktop cost. So it was one of those things I want to make sure the board knows that now we're able to now get a brand new library parking lot because of this trade for, I believe, about 40% of what our original quote was. And when you just take this estimate and you look at what the equipment cost was, the value to at the full depth was around 10 grand. For with the mill, we're probably getting about 15,000 worth of services for this. So it's a very beneficial proposal for the town of Aurora. We do this all the time in highway. Usually there's nothing so elaborate as these trades, but when you're talking about real equipment, we have to quantify that it's good for our taxpayers. So that's the only thing I'm trying to point out. This is an opportunity.
And we appreciate you doing everything you did here, Dave. We just simply, we're not accusing you. We just simply didn't quite understand it is all. So thank you.
Right. But do everybody understand it now? Or I mean, yeah, it is weird. We've never had this happen before.
And then is there anything you want to say about the 284
Well,
agreements?
just go right to 15 because 284 has
Sure.
nothing to do with this. So if you don't mind 15, what that is what Bridget's talking about. It's the agreement. So to give you a little background, Tonawanda in October this year had a 2023 sweeper that an employee rolled it over on the 290 and totaled it. So they have an incredible need for a sweeper. We bought our brand new sweeper in November, as you remember. We ordered it. We won't see it till probably late fall right now. So this is something that came into my mind. I had a town say, hey, has anybody got a sweeper? We're in a jam. I knew we were selling ours anyway, so it was just going to go to the auction. So I put this proposal together with the highway superintendent there that let me talk to our board. And if you're willing to take on all of our projects this year and saves our town money, we could do a trade. So I went further, and under our town attorney's direction, I provided data from the auction on similar pieces of equipment. And as you can see, I think when you add the two projects, the library and the street project, I believe we're getting a very favorable value. In fact, the Villages sweeper is on there, and it was a 2010, I believe, and I think it only went for $12,000. So these things aren't really worth a lot when you sell them. So I would say probably, just my guess, I figured we were going to get between 5 and 10 grand for that in an auction. So when you package that together, we're looking like we're getting about 35,000 worth of paving services for this. So I think it's a good deal. I asked the attorney to make sure she was good with the language. That's where we're at. So
You had mentioned that the new sweeper won't be until late fall.
Yeah, it's actually budgeted for the 2025 year, so it'll be here by late fall. Now, I did talk to Tonawanda. I told him I do need our sweeper twice still. We will need it for our spring cleanup. So in April, we'll need it for about a month to clean up the town from the grit. And then in probably end of May, we'll oil and chip, and I'll need it one time to clean up the loose stone. So after that, I really don't need a sweeper. So let them have it.
And are you gonna, for those two uses, get it back from them, or they're not,
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
going over to them until
No.
that time?
No, they've had it since I think I told the board
November.
we sent it. Yeah, we've sent it since November.
All right.
And yeah, so it's just one of these things. It was a unique situation where they were in dire need, and because they're self-insured, they couldn't get recovery for their sweeper. They literally had to pay the $300,000, and they didn't have it in the budget. So they're very grateful. So I think it's a very good offer for our town. And if you look at just what we budgeted, I think it saves us money any way you look at it.
A little horse trading, sounds good.
There's no guarantees with sweepers.
Bridget, did you write that in there? I hope.
It has extra arms that don't tip over, so.
No.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
No warranties.
No warranties, so.
Bridget actually did write that in there. Yeah, it was one of the main things she did. So
Yeah, it's similar to us helping whales during the storm. We do this with towns all the time. We're helping each other back and forth. So now we found somewhere they can help us, and it benefits our taxpayer and it helps theirs. So we don't have to do it, but I think it's a good deal.
Oh, he has to do it. It's all done.
Thank you. Now I need the money for the blacktop for the library. Well, we'll talk about that the next board meeting. All right.
I believe Joe's being.
Yeah. I'll make sure that.
I'm just gonna write, yeah, just gonna write it out.
Trying to think of why these are different.
In the meantime, anything else you want to add, Dave?
No, if you want me to talk about the 284 agreements, I can. All right. So the 284 agreements, this is just a formality. We've actually renewed these 2 times now. So all this is renewing the 2023 284 agreements and 2022 for the Bridge New York projects that have not been completed. It's just a formality that allows us to proceed with the job without having to come back for further board guidance for expediency. No different than other ones. It was just something we forgot. And I think Martha pointed out when we did that RFP for the engineers, just something that we just forgot to do. So all this is just get it
Yep.
done.
We do them every year.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything anybody wants to add to the work session before we get into the regular meeting?
Good.
Okay,
No thanks.
we'll start the regular meeting. Number one, we do not have a public hearing tonight. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the January 22nd, 2024 work session and meeting minutes?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is audience one, an opportunity to address the items on this agenda. If anyone would like to address the board, please come up, give us your name and address. And anyone online? No? Seeing no one? Next, we have unfinished business. First on the list is the payment to Fontenay's, Foltz, Albrecht and Ernst. Can I have a motion to approve a payment of $680 to Fontenay's, Foltz, Albrecht and Ernst for the payment of the senior center exterior doors?
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Any comments or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the Code Red policy. Can I have a motion to adopt the Code Red policy for the Code Red cases as requested?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Any comments or discussion?
Is this something we also want to place on our website, the finished policy? To think about? We'll have to put so the social media will be on there. We have to put that on. Code Red, we can think about it.
Yeah, it's just adding a page, yeah. I mean, if it affects the type of room.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
We'll consider that, huh?
Yeah.
I want to thank Joe and Martha for putting this together. Appreciate that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda. These are items that just need cleaning up because Supervisor Bach signed them and he's obviously no longer supervisor. So can I have a motion to adopt the resolution between the state of New York and the town of Aurora regarding advance payment on parcel number 9?
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Any comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a similar. Can I have a motion to approve the supervisor to authorize the advanced payment agreement regarding the state work on Davis Road on parcel number 8?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the request to set public hearings. And following the requests and approval from our planning board, can I have a motion to set the public hearing for the property at 1309 Grover Road for February 26th at 7 o'clock at 575 Oakwood Avenue?
So moved.
Motion by Ray.
Yeah.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Can I have a motion to set a public hearing for a bed and breakfast proposal at 686 Quaker Road on February 26th at 7 o'clock at 575 Oakwood Avenue?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And lastly, can I have a motion to set the public hearing for a bed and breakfast on March 11th for the property at 1514 Mill Road at 575 Oakwood at 7 o'clock?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under new business. This is a request from Kathleen Moffett to approve the purchase of additional payroll software, the employee self-service software in the amount of $1,200 annually with a $1,000 implement cost. This will come out of line A1680.401. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is also a request from Kathleen Moffett. This is in regards to the new purchase card. Can I have a motion to approve the supervisor to sign the participation agreement with JP Morgan Chase Bank to enroll the town in the new PEEP card program?
So moved.
Motion by Ray.
Great.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the social media policy. Can I have a motion to adopt the amended social media policy as written?
So moved.
Motion by Joe,
No,
second by, motion by
Luke,
Luke,
second by Joe.
second by Joe. Comments or discussion?
Done.
All in favor?
Very good.
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is a temporary use permit. Can I have a motion to approve a temporary use permit application from Aurora Waldorf School for a summer program with Earth Spirit?
So move.
Motion by Ray. Motion by Jim.
The other baritone.
Second. Can I have a second?
Second. We gotta work on our voices.
Yeah.
mean, now-
Second by Ray. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Oh, I know, now it's kind of like a little game. I'm gonna try to make my voice sound different so that we can.
Usually we get a rhythm, you know, and
Yeah, we don't have a rhythm. I
there's
agree.
no rhythm tonight.
Joe's got a cold.
Yeah,
falls
I'm a
apart.
bit under the weather. Otherwise, I would be carrying most of the workload.
We all be just looking to you.
Next, we have a motion for a rezoning of the property at 1686 and 1688 Davis Road. Can I have a motion to refer to approve the zoning request and refer it to the planning board for the property at 1686 and 1688 Davis Road?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
Second,
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion?
your voices.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a motion from Elizabeth Cassidy. Can I have a motion to approve the code committee to discuss and send recommendations to the town board regarding possible changes to section 116-8.9D?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have G and H. I think Dave has explained both of these very well. We will. This is information only. We don't have to vote on anything, and we all understand it pretty well, I think, by now. And thank you, Dave, for going through that.
Should have did it backwards. The other thing first.
Yeah, well.
Live and learn.
Next is a 284 agreement. Can I have a motion to approve the 284 agreement for the work as specified at the Church Street Bridge?
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Next on the agenda is another 284 agreement. Can I have a motion to approve the 284 agreement for the work as specified at the East Fillmore Bridge?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Comments or discussion?
Supervisor Buck, still messing things up around here, isn't he?
Ooh.
Get that on the record.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
There's very little chance he's listening to this from wherever he is.
I'm sure he's not.
Yes.
All right,
Doing
I'm gonna call him.
So, yeah,
a lot better
I
things.
think that was a good one. I think it was good. I'd be. Yeah.
Next on the agenda is a request to surplus the sweeper. Can I have a motion to approve our request to surplus the 2002 Freightliner FC-70 sweeper, inventory number 1253?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the shared services agreement. I have that right? Yes, I did. Can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the shared services agreement as written?
So moved.
Motion by Ray,
I'll second.
second by Jim. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have some 2023 year-end budget transfers. Can I have a motion to approve the year-end budget transfers as listed?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Comments or discussion? Does everybody understand these?
I did have a question on the one. So I mean, I understand we move money around depending on how much is available in the line. But the garbage contractual, we're going into the fund balance for 14,300. So it went over it. And how does it go over, I guess, is the thing I don't understand.
We have an agreement with them and with the recycling, correct me if I'm wrong here, Martha. With the recycling where it's if the recycling return, the dollar to return goes up, then we save money. And in this particular case, things like, I believe it's glass, the cost of recycling glass, the cost of the recycling glass has gone up, which means that dips into our, we're kind of like,
The glass we put in
we don't
our,
have, we don't
doesn't
have
have
a
as
set
much value.
price on recycling. It's kind of a
Okay.
program where we're working with them. Other years, it's worked out well where we've saved money. This year we didn't.
so just so I understand, do we make more money if people put more in their recycling? Or we make more,
Well-
or it costs less if people recycle less?
It depends what they're recycling.
Okay,
Because
some items have value.
things
Aluminum.
Such as glass. I
Yeah,
believe,
have value.
It actually costs money. to
Oh, it
recycle.
costs money to recycle glass.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Or is it aluminum? What else has value? Just
Cardboard.
cardboard has some value, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Supervisor, I just want to mention, I'm a member of the Nest Committee, and what Supervisor is saying is correct. And I know Councilman Rosin wants to get involved in that. Some of the recycling that we do now, actually, there's such a low market that we're actually paying to get rid of it. And even some of the glasses, it depends on the glasses. And I know Ray's excited to come to those meetings.
Sure.
But yeah, so I totally want you to know, following this, because I'm on that committee, it's an eye opener how it's changed in the past 5 years. Went
Yeah.
from a good market to literally not. Anyway, so Ray, you got
Yeah.
work to do.
See what we can do.
Did I get us for a motion and a second on all
Yeah,
that?
we're in a discussion, so.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is a request from Donna Bodecker. She's asking the town board to accept a donation of $200 from Western New York Hospice Society. And this will be placed in line at TA 1000.90. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. About that. We have another request from Donna Bodecker asking to accept can I have a motion to accept the donation of $200 from Western Zone Retired Teachers Foundation? And that money will be placed in TA 1000.90.
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have another request from Donna Bodecker. Can I have a motion to accept the donation of $100 from Cornell Cooperative Extension? And place the money in line TA 1000.90.
So moved.
Motion by Jim,
Second.
second by Joe. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is a request from Kathleen Moffett. This is also a budget amendment. Can I have a motion to receive payment from the county for their share of the senior center exterior door replacement project? And increase line A 4910 Community Development Act by $83,571.50. And increase appropriations line A 6772.201 Senior Center Exterior Door Replacements by $83,571.50.
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under communications, we have one little typo. Well, I'll start with A. We have the December 2023 recreation report. B is actually January 2024 report from recreation. We have the 2023 annual report from the town clerk, the January 2024 report from the town clerk tax. We have the January 2024 report from the town clerk. We have the January 2024 report from the town clerk regarding water, January 2024 report from dog control, January 2024 report from work requisitions, December 2023 report from the East Aurora Police Department, and the January 2024 report from the supervisor. Next is business from board members, and let's start with Councilman McKinnon.
Thank you very much, Supervisor. I just have one item. I was put in touch with a grant writer who's interested in working with the town. I spoke to her briefly. She sent over some information, which I'll forward on. I think it could be a real good opportunity. Obviously, we've talked about this in light of the New York Forward Grant. The way I have it figured in my head, and obviously we have to discuss, is we can identify some projects we want to pursue, right? As opposed to just throwing darts at a dartboard, because a lot of them have matching obligations. So we don't want to take on projects we don't necessarily want to do just because there's a grant available. But I'd like to I'll probably send this around to the town board email. Everybody can take a look at her qualifications. And if we want, we can have her to a meeting and talk to her, or go with her wherever we go from there. But she's really very impressive. She previously worked with water keepers, and for fees of 50,000, which we would come nowhere near, she generated $1.2 million in grant money for their organization. So the opportunities out there. She gave me a list of grants that would potentially fit our needs, things that we're looking at, and there's just a lot out there, so.
Thank you, Joe, for bringing that up and mentioning and finding this person. Along with that, Councilman Waschinsky and I have been looking, and I brought it up at one of the supervisors meetings and asked other towns who their grant writer was, and I got a response of the same person 4 times. I mean, and so maybe we'll get together here.
Might be the same person.
So
So this woman works with a number of towns.
Yeah,
So we might even be talking about
Yeah.
the same person.
so
Yeah.
This is the person I spoke to you about that came recommended by Nancy Smith.
Yeah.
I set a meeting with her 10 o'clock on Friday morning, and we had another engagement. So I outsourced that to Joe. That's where that comes from. And then Jerry actually recommended a third grant writer / grant seeker. So I think we can throw them in the mix as well and kind of get everybody to get their resumes together,
Yeah.
and let's go from there. But
I think it's a great idea.
that's great. That's great.
But I just, this particular one, sorry, Jim, to interrupt, is that Nancy very highly recommended her as well, so.
And I may have missed it. What is your next step or next conversation with?
She was going on vacation, but I can send her. She sent a bio and resume around, so I can shoot that off to the town board. So everybody take a look at it and take it from there. She'll come to a meeting. She'll come during the day to meet, whatever.
Maybe the next meeting or two, we can put this together and have that discussion.
Jim, I think you know someone too, Jim, right, who is interested?
I do, yeah. So, and I know he does corporate, but he also does municipal, so I can ask him to put something together. He's a professor of grant writing at UB, so, but he does take on projects. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't know if he's actively taking on new projects right now, but that's he's done wonders for us at West Falls and some of the other organizations that he's worked with.
Sounds very promising.
There you go. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Joe. Luke?
Well, actually, Joe and I did also meet with Dan Castle from the county.
Oh, yeah.
To discuss, we discussed the comprehensive plan request for proposals. So we had been getting from a number of different sources, the RFP from the town of Boston, but that had state requirements that we didn't think were really necessary or applicable to us. So he sent over a few others, and we continued our work to try to put that together. So I'm hoping that we can get something to propose by our next meeting here, where we can look it over and take a look, and kind of try to put that together and get it out there.
Moving. That'd be great.
Yeah, so that's one, climate smart communities. We have a meeting tomorrow with Jason Kulishevsky from UBRI, actually not specifically on climate smart communities, but on our clean energy community program. And that has changed a bit. And so we're hoping that he can come and present here some of the potential projects. We identified about $60,000 in funding that we can be able to get pretty quickly here, actually, with a few small things. So that is exciting. And we'll continue to push forward in the other initiatives of the CSC task force, one of which is the website, which is finished. It needs to be approved at our CSC task force meeting, and then we'll send it to the board for approval at our next meeting. So that's done and
Put that on.
ready. It's a beast of a website. It really is something phenomenal. So Sue Russell did the most work on that, and she really did a good job. Also, what else? I had something else, but I don't remember what it was. And then, of course, the last is that we have our New York Forward announcement, which is great for the community of West Falls. And we've started to look for the towns projects. And we need to wait for the state to come back to us at some point. So we can kick that off, but it's really exciting. We were down there on Friday and, we thought maybe if we could demolish that second house in from Bridge Street, it really open up a nice view, go back in
It's the one up on
right
the
back
hill,
to the,
right?
yeah.
Like, it's got that
Right there,
triangle.
second house, second and third houses in, in case I'm getting the wrong one, but yeah.
Clean it up a little.
No. A lot of exciting stuff and it's gonna have to be all hands on deck here as we move forward because it's a pretty big project and we're really gonna have to put a lot of work in to make sure it goes right. But what a great thing for the West Falls community. So thanks to everybody that was a part of that.
Good.
I think that's it. Yep.
Jim?
I don't want Luke to rest on his laurels. I mean, he had one little victory this year, and that's it, but. What do you think, what would be the timeline and what do you think, the discussion will be at a next, West Falls, community meeting? Would it be, waiting to hear from the New York State or, waiting to hear from DOT or a little of both?
So the DOT plans are finalized. And those, Dave, did you get those final plans?
I didn't have time to run and get them, but I have.
But they're ready. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at, so it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. So those have been put forward for approval. I think final approval is coming this month or next month. I don't know if they said. So once that's done, that project is finalized. Any New York Forward funds would be sort of on top of that. And just to give an example, if the committee decides to have decorative lighting, then that would be installed in the place. But there's room for it to be for that type of stuff to be there. But I think we need to wait in order to get the state to come out and get a better idea of how to move forward and answer questions, and to have some state representatives there to have that meeting. Because right now I just got a call today, a couple of them from applicants that are interested, including some that were not a part of the original proposal, or one. And it's not clear. I don't even know what to tell them at this point because I don't understand what resources we have and how we move forward, what the timetable is. But we're expecting, Chuck and I are expecting to get a meeting put together this week, I guess, and we can start working on it because we're ready to go. It's a little hurry up and wait right now. But yeah, it will require several public meetings. We do have to put together a local committee that has to be approved by the governor. I know that. And just conceptually, we won as a community, and now it's up to individual applicants to apply for the specific projects. But for that, there are state resources that assist with putting those together.
So on my end, primarily in West Falls, we did have unexpected visit from a New York State marketing firm that was hired by Erie County. And what we had talked about is the great work, that was done with Tim Kennedy and Senator Galvin to fix and revitalize the road at 240, the New York Forward grant, which certainly is going to do, I hope, some wonderful things for the hamlet. They had just visited Lancaster. They were on their way to Springville, and we had talked about some type of arts corridor, and they were excited about that. And what they really want to do is, once things are moving or in the process of moving and either shovel ready or beyond shovel ready, is marketing, spending money that's not coming from the town, not necessarily coming from the individual businesses, but marketing that area for as part of the Erie County initiative. For one, we did West Falls Center for Arts did get a grant in large part due to April Baskins and Jim Melchevsky, where we're going to be redoing the parking lot, and our people have already begun to coordinate it with the DOT. We are meeting with Dan Cass tomorrow on that particular matter, so he's going to know us all real well over the next year. So again, exciting things, and appreciate all the help from the board and all the hard work.
I just, one thing is to think about maybe if you can use that funding as part of matching funds or whatever it is for New York Forward. I don't know what the timing is, but again, we're trying to figure that out. But as you look forward, before you spend anything, let's make sure we figure that out. So it,
Yeah, the goal is to get it done, sort of coordinated along with the DOT, so it would be June, July, August. Hopefully, I don't know that New York Ford's gonna move that fast, but hopefully.
Well, I shouldn't shake my head.
Yeah,
but I don't think,
you have experience now, you have years' experience.
but the DOT, I think, is planning on next year, right? Is when they start construction.
Oh, I thought they were starting this year.
I think it's
Next year.
is this year. Yeah, already.
It's,
Time flies when you're having
Just
fun,
the
I
word
guess, huh? Jeez.
Awesome, Jim. If things between the, the other possible grant here and then the New York Forward and the DOT and all of that coming together. With construction, I just hate to see you lay all that blacktop down and then new parking lot and then tear it up because you're gonna put a new electric service in it.
Yeah.
Something along.
no, I'm with you 100%, and we have somebody,
Just kinda-
experts who are coordinating with DOT.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's well above my knowledge. There's
Just
someone
wouldn't
else
want to see
doing
that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Very good.
Put it down, Tara.
Thank you, Jim. Right?
You're all set?
You all set?
Okay, yeah, because of my strong interest in garbage and recycling. In line with that, I mentioned last time that I was touching base with the town of Wheatfield. Former cohort of mine is on the town board there. He put me in touch with their water and sewer superintendent. He's in charge of recycling and garbage pickup. And he and I talked specifically about electronic recycling. And you mentioned before, Chuck, about glass, the value of that coming down. Electronics, actually, they make money off of it with their recycling efforts. The thing is they're a lot more robust than we are in the fact that they have drop off during normal business hours at the sewer department. So I don't know if we want to go that far, but what I want to do is touch base with the recycling company, Sun King, and get more details because they recycle about 40,000 pounds of electronics every year. So again, they have to temper our expectations, but I think that there is an opportunity here, certainly to service the community and at the same time, maybe make some money. I asked him point blank how he ended up with it. He said it's because they had the space to be able to do that. Plus they had a tremendous amount of drop and run where people were dropping off at the facility and taking off and leaving that material there. And they had to pay for the recycling of that material. So here they flipped it around. They're actually contracting with Sun King for them to come and pick it up. We got to check on volumes, space, things like that. But I think we're in the, in the early mode of trying to determine whether or not this makes sense.
Greg, I got I'm slightly related, so you go first.
No, okay, so Sun King is our Erie County bid contractor. So we do have to use them because they have the rate.
Right.
And they do a great job. And I totally agree with the electronics. The problem, Ray, is the cathode ray tubes. I don't know if he told you.
Oh,
That-
absolutely.
that's the ones you gotta pay to get rid of.
You have a list of things that you accept.
Yeah, so to make it a profitable venture, you'd have to eliminate that because those are the ones that frankly, we've been trying to clean out of the ditches for
Right.
10 years.
And luckily we're
So-
on the downside.
Totally. And every year we actually have started to go down because we've been so aggressive in the town.
Right.
But yeah, if you can segregate and just get the good stuff, yeah, there's money for it. But unfortunately, a lot of it's just still these old televisions and old monitors, and those you got to pay to get rid of. So, and we're going to keep talking. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it's a good idea though.
Because this stuff is fun.
Yeah, Ray, to add maybe to your work there, we did have a couple of companies come in to the Climate Smart community.
Yeah.
Can and bottle recyclers, one of them Can Bottle Return out of Hamburg, that work with municipalities. Setting up for special events. They come, they set up the recycle.
We had that
And
with
then-
our.
Yeah, and then they give you a check for your whatever bottles are collected. So that might be something to look, if you're interested in that, to look into that and see if we can try to Because now there's a bill in Albany, if it passes, that would double the cost of those bottles.
Right, 10 cents.
So
All right. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Ray.
You
I'll
bet.
keep mine short and sweet. Last Saturday night, my wife and I attended the South Wales Firemen's Installation Dinner. And I know I bring it up every time we go, but I always enjoy that. All right, next on the agenda is audience two. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding any concerns that you might have. Please, if you'd like to come up to the mic, give us your name and address. Try to keep your comments to 3 minutes, please. No one? Okay. Staff reports. Paul, anything good for us? Rod? Doug?
Nope. That's our 3 referrals.
Okay. Dave, anything?
Sorry.
Do.
Good.
All right, so Chuck, you actually missed the final part of our meeting on Friday. We did the New York Forward preliminary walk around. Later, me and Luke, because you had to leave, met with Jerry Sense about our Bridge New York projects that we have currently with Church and Fillmore. As most of you are aware, we got delayed last year because of the Historic Preservation Organization, SHPO. They kicked Church Street because the building next to the bridge at what time was the original Fisher Price factory. So at that time, the town of Aurora board had to hire a historical archaeologist. I think I have that right. I think you guys remember that. And so we had to pay to go around and prove that there was no historical detriment with the bridge. So we've gotten through that, but there is some really tough things we're at. We're right to final design right now. So in the next month or two, the supervisor will be getting the paperwork to sign off to proceed. And what that'll then allow us to do is to move on to property acquisition. Over at Church Street, there is 2 properties that we have to go through the acquisition phase. We're very hopeful to get through all these last hurdles. To hopefully get out to bid around June. The problem is, and I just want to put it out there, I'm starting to get very nervous because the industry with the infrastructure bill and infrastructure spending, including the stadium project, has used up all the manufacturing capacity for the whole year with concrete products. It's just something we didn't expect. So I'm getting very concerned that even though we finally will be able to proceed, there's a pretty good chance out of our control that we won't be able to get that in this year. Not because of not being ready or find the contractor, just not being able to get a manufacturer. We're going to throw it out there. Hopefully I'm wrong and hopefully something changes. But the problem is the Buffalo area has got so much construction between the DOT and the Buffalo Bills Stadium that everything's being eaten up. So I'll keep the village informed and the residents over there. This is something that's disappointing for us. We wanted this done over a year ago, but it really is not within our control. So I'll keep you up to date as we go along. We're getting there. It's going to get done. It's going to cost a little more than we thought because of inflation, but it's really out of our control. So I just want to make sure the board's aware of these problems.
Thank you, Dave. Rich?
Nothing.
Okay. Next. Approval of the abstract. Could I have a motion to approve the abstract?
So move.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Comments or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And can I have a motion, bless you? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion by Jim, second,
Second.
second by Ray.